So today I'm talking golf phrases. I use a lot of them. You'll see lots of them in other videos. I'm talking angle of attack, doing a little series of videos just briefly talking about some certain measurements that I'll talk about in lessons, and hopefully you'll start to hear about if you're having some lessons with some people who are measuring the golf swing in three-dimensional with hope in dimensions with a good launch monitor. So we're talking angle of attack. Let's talk to you about the importance of understanding what it means. Let's get stuck in. So angle of attack. Angle of attack is purely how the club head, so my machine, my GC2 HMT that I use, measures the face. That's why you'll see dots on my face of my clubs often in videos. It measures how that face is moving down, up or level, how it's moving through impact, so that little impact interval, how it's moving through impact in relationship to the ground. What it doesn't do, or any of the machines do, it doesn't particularly measure how far up or off the ground you are, but it will measure if you're hitting down or up in relationship to the ground. And the reason I say that is lots of people believe that if they're taking a big fat divot, or even if they're hitting the ground hard and duffing the ball along the ground, a common thing I hear is they say that they're too steep, they're hitting too much down on the ball. Now if you think about a golf swing has a big circle around your body, a big arc, there's a low point of that circle. Now depending where you hit the ball in that circle, let's pretend you hit it on the upward part of the circle, that means the low point is before the ball. And if you happen to hit the ground there, remember the machines aren't measuring how high or low the club is off the ground, so if you're getting that club low as it comes to that lowest point, that's going to chunk the ground, hit the ball on the way up with not much energy because most of that's been applied to the ground, and the ball's going to roll along the floor. You could equally hit a top where you're hitting down on the ball too much, so you're hitting downwards heavy, hit the ball, then a bit of a divot and the ball shoots low, or you catch the bottom of the club and it shoots low, those kind of things. Now I see people hitting down, hitting fats, hitting fins. I see people hitting up, generally hitting fins and fats, but also good shots. There's no per se correct angle of attack. You've just got to have one that functions in your golf swing. So what I mean by that, angle of attack will dictate how your swing looks on the 2D camera. So just a basic rule, if I'm hitting down at the ball, so my angle of attack is downwards, angle of attack is measured in degrees, so let's say I'm like 10 down, so a lot down, my swing direction will have to be to the left to get my path maybe near zero, because the path of the club, so the path of the head as it travels through impact, if the angle of attack is downwards, will be more right of the swing direction. Now if I'm doing vice versa, if I'm hitting upwards, hitting the driver, or I'm hitting irons and I choose to hit upwards, which I wouldn't advise, but let's pretend I do, the club path of the club will now be going leftwards of the swing direction. So the direction the swing looks like it's swinging on, the path will be going leftwards of that. If I was to hit the ball at zero, the lowest point, so not up or down, that is the only time the path and the swing direction marry up. So angle of attack is a key measurement of understanding club path, because when you're measuring on 2D cameras, if you don't know angle of attack, then you don't know if that swing direction should be inwards, also pointing to the right, or it should be more swing direction looking like it's going left, which might zero out your path number depending on what you want to get. Angle of attack is also a key number into try and manipulate ball flight. It's something I'll use in everyday play. I've got a 7-iron here, and let's pretend I want to go over a tree. I'm going to try and hit up at this ball, trying to try and present loft, try and get that ball going up and over that tree fast. And then vice versa, if I want to send the ball lower, now there's a couple of ways I do this in tournament play. The easiest way for me is I try and hit more down on the ball, present less loft through other factors, which we'll talk about in another video, but I'm going to change my angle of attack to feel like I'm launching that ball out lower and punching it into that wind. You don't have to do the punch shot like that. I also do one where I have the angle of attack staying at zero while presenting less loft, which can change the spin. And that's another point as well. Angle of attack is one of the key measurements in measuring what kind of spin you put on your golf shots. So if you're someone looking at struggling with kind of high spins in drivers, or not the right spins or launches with drivers or irons, your angle of attack is one of the ingredients that deliver that spin number. So the more you get it measured, the more you understand it, I think the better you could be. There we go guys, angle of attack, simply how the club is moving down or up as you strike the ball, or level. It doesn't measure how far off the ground you are. It's something you have to really measure if you want to understand it properly, and you have to measure it in amongst all the other measurements to balance it out. But it's one measurement that I'll look at in a golf swing when I'm measuring with my GC2 HMT, which just has to be in certain parameters for you to get certain launches and spins and create some better shots. When I see people hitting drivers 6 down, I know it's always going to lead to maybe a slight problem, opposed to people hitting irons 2 degrees up. Often their complaints, they hit out of the bottom, they hit the ground first, those kind of things. There's certain patterns. Angle of attack, how the club is moving down or up or level, how it's moving in relationship to the ground. It's a key factor for you guys understanding how to play some better golf. You can only measure it really with 3D launch monitors. Thanks for watching. Post comments down below. Is that what you thought angle of attack was? Is that how you understood how it worked? I'd love to know. Speak to you soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more videos. Find me on Instagram at Crossfield Mark. Also on Twitter at 4golfonline. Find me on Facebook, Mark Crossfield. Thanks for watching. Post comments as always, and see you soon.